He's just threatening all of us.
There was his estranged wife's tale of violence police decided was jumping the gun.
We searched him physically. There was no weapon.
But there was.
He had a gun. He was the aggressor. He said, "I'm above the law."
He choked me.
The girlfriend abuse case that didn't have to disappear just because she did.
We would probably go forth.
Over $3,000 worth of items.
The grand theft probe that slammed shut at this stonewalling.
I'm gonna have to refer you to my attorney.
And I tried calling him many, many times.
I'm sorry about that. He's very busy.
And the suspicious gun he made sure this officer didn't see. This is a story about a man with more cops than lawyers behind him these days. It's about leads missed, evidence withheld, laws ignored when it's about
George Zimmerman.
Lake Mary Police Department, this line is recorded.
There's some things missing.
I'm police, fire, medical.
I need police right now.
In 6 months, the serious crime Zimmerman has been accused of or charged with carried the combined possibility of up to 24 years in prison. But not one of the accusations has been proven. He's walked away every time. Zimmerman's supporters say that's because it's all been women lying for personal gain. Martin supporters believe the stories of violence, and that every time an alleged victim won't press charges, every rap Zimmerman beats is another bullet to Trayvon's heart.
Not guilty.
People united!
After the verdict, the Trayvon typhoon resurges, forecasting a death toll of 1. Zimmerman heads for safer ground, the Lone Star State of Texas. And when stopped for speeding, exploits what he considers his celebrity to avoid a ticket. It works.
What a coincidence.
Officers are allowed to use their discretion in deciding whom to hold accountable. They're not allowed to snap personal photos on the job.
Save the warning day for your speed. That's it.
But it goes beyond officers' discretion. Back in Florida, on drug traffickers' freeway, Zimmerman looking the part. His license tag unreadable, his windows dark as night.
Yeah, you're way too dark, man. You're at 3%.
And then the trooper asks,
Yeah, you got your registration and insurance card?
Zimmerman doesn't produce either, and he was speeding again. That's 5 broken laws of the road that would cost the average offender about $1,400 in fees. Yet, after I'd uncovered the stop, viewed the tape, and asked the Florida Highway Patrol about it, the FHP denied all but the 2 warned violations. Spokeswoman Kim Montes emphasizing Zimmerman was not speeding. But he was. Listen.
65 through here. I think I got you at 75. Watch your speed.
Why a cover-up? The FHP fired veteran trooper Charles Swindle for giving this speeding lawmaker a break.
One firefighter to another.
Swindle had to win a recent legal fight for reinstatement. He gets a permanent skid mark of suspension on his record. Trooper Boehm gets a handshake. Then the risks get higher in Georgia's hometown of Lake Mary.
Due to the fact you were 15 over, I did issue a citation for speed.
Dinged for speeding, not for having no proof of insurance or registration for the 3rd stop in a row. Watch George closely.
Do you have your registration insurance?
I might in my glove compartment.
Okay. Huh?
Should I try?
Yeah, that's fine. Do I have it?
I went back because George seemed nervous, license ready, right hand awkwardly over his left, which he keeps out of sight, except to discreetly cover something in yellow material. Turns out he may have been sweating bullets. Fix your eyes on his left side dashboard, what he pulls from it. Then folds into the cloth below the officer's line of sight. Is it the open handgun police who've reviewed this video now believe George was trying to hide from this officer? Even with a concealed carry permit and an in-vehicle, the law says a gun must be kept out of the ordinary sight of another person, not unholstered on the dash, or in an open dash shelf, and where you'll see Zimmerman has been known to keep his.
Drive safely, all right?
But it won't be this police officer. It's his department's SWAT team that 6 days later closes in on Zimmerman.
He continually has his hand on his gun and he keeps saying, "Step closer."
In the domestic dispute that exploded over furniture Zimmerman didn't want his departing estranged wife to take with her.
Stop where you are!
The dispute which left legal experts wondering why police didn't arrest Zimmerman.
The way the Florida statutes read, police almost always have to arrest somebody in a domestic violence situation like this. The person is considered an aggressor even if both sides are making accusations against each other.
George was the aggressor. He had a gun. As he was walking towards the house, you could see the pouch bouncing, moving like something was heavy in there, full of destroy and hate.
Eugene Johnson was first to encounter Zimmerman. That's him getting the camera in the face as Zimmerman passes. That's also Johnson closest to the surveillance camera in the green shirt watching it all. Hired that day by a Mr. Dean to help his daughter move out of some house, Johnson says the family didn't mention they're related to Zimmerman. When did you learn and how that this was George Zimmerman?
When Shelley kept saying, "George, please don't shoot my father," and Dave said, "Get out of here, George," and I said, "George," and I started thinking. I said, "Wait a minute." He said, "I'm above the law."
As he's reaching into what you say was a gun.
The only time he took his hand off that gun was when he tore the iPad up and took his knife out and cut it.
Here's an exclusive photo of Zimmerman just after stabbing the iPad into pieces with the knife police gave right back to him. And here's the only new photo of more blood on David Dean. Is this blood blister a defensive wound or something else? George told police that David hit him, that he pushed him back, George fell back on the ground, George got back up, and David attacked him again. Did that happen?
No, ma'am, it did not happen.
Florida law also says when arresting the primary aggressor, the consent of the victim is not needed, and that victims include family members related by, not just through, marriage. Yet Shelley and her father's refusals to press charges was one reason police gave for not arresting Zimmerman. Their other main reason for not charging Zimmerman with 3 serious crimes:
Nobody ever saw a gun. A gun is definitely not part of any evidence.
But Lake Mary Police Department's own dash cam video confirms that's not true. And as remarkably, it's a conversation in police code in which Zimmerman will lead cops right to his gun. Listen.
We need to clear the vehicle.
Clear the vehicle means to render it safe. Once George is to the squad car,
He's got the keys on him. We got 10-12 left.
a 1012, a passenger, Samantha, sitting in the truck. Now here it comes.
0 is in the car.
A 0, a gun. The dispatcher alerts the officers at the truck. Now, according to 2 sources, one an officer on the scene, this comes from George.
It's Shelley.
According to the police response log, the vehicle was being cleared at about 2:20 in the afternoon. Yet, about 2 hours later, when the house and scene were cleared, and to this day, police say no one saw a gun or the chest area gun holster from this new empty package found inside George's house that day. What do you think about police's claim that there was no gun?
They knew looking for no gun.
Why would they have any reason to cover for George and say there's no gun?
I have no idea, ma'am.
I tried to ask Lake Mary Police the same question, but spokesman Zach Hudson had no comment. In the past, he's told me that complicating this case were early questions about whether Shelley had been the aggressor, although nothing supported sole accuser George's allegations. But the response log reveals police inquired about the only person involved with a criminal conviction, Shelley having just copped a plea to get her perjury case behind her.
Yes, Your Honor.
Hudson has also said Lake Mary Police took this case so seriously, it was prepared to seek the president's sign-off on getting the National Security Agency to attempt recovery of the iPad when the Secret Service stepped up.
I guess I was about 10 or 12 feet from him.
But Johnson says he needed only his eyes to see who should have been arrested. The man who he says used his girlfriend, Samantha, to sneak his gun back into his truck.
He gave her the gun and put it inside her bag.
Next, in part 2 of my investigation,
if there is ever a time for a state attorney to step back, this was the case.
A new state attorney's role in Zimmerman's having beaten not only Raps 5 and 6, but this one and even the shooting death of Trayvon Martin. And in his own dark words, to this woman,
George is a liar.
Zimmerman's romantic obsession who speaks for the first time, his increasingly desperate texts, writings, and voicemails that yearn for attention, and reveal his practiced method of threatening lives consequence-free.